The story begins on a continent called the Divine Continent. The Divine Continent is divided into 5 regions, namely the Eastern, Southern, Western and Northern regions, which are full of abundant resources and comfortable places to live. Meanwhile, the Central Domain was barren and far inland, making it very difficult to survive there. The many great powers of the human race quickly occupied the outer 4 regions, whereas the demonic beasts were forced into the Central Domain because they were weaker. In the year 425 of the Fan Tian calendar, Cui Shi, the leader of the Tianxi sect, managed to break through in his cultivation and attain the human form. After that, he mobilized the demon army to overthrow the human race domain and started the first attack on the eastern region. Hua Fuming, as the leader of the Qingyun sect, received an order from the Cloud Temple to ally with the human soldiers to repel the demon army. Cui Shi summoned a dragon to join the demon army. Instantly, a city was destroyed in flames and the human soldiers were incinerated by the dragon's breath. Currently, only Hua Fuming could fight against that dragon. However, with all the attacks given by Hua Fuming, he was still unable to defeat the dragon. When Hua Fuming was injured, Ning Yudi, the leader of the Cloud Temple, came to his aid. Ning Yudi came in so charmingly. Every step she took, there was always a cold aura coming from her. She would not allow the demon army to destroy the Cloud Temple territory that had stood for 1,000 years. Ning Yudi is not afraid even when she has to fight with many demon armies and even a dragon. With her technique, Ning Yudi instantly froze a dragon and made it unable to move, then shattered into pieces. After that, she gave an order for everyone to unite against the demon army, even though it cost lives. With the presence of Ning Yudi, the fighting spirit of the troops will rise and the troops will fight to the death for the Eastern Domain. On the other hand, Ning Yudi talked to Cui Shi to stop the war. A war between races will only cost countless lives. Then what is the difference between your divine nation and hell? Cui Shi replied that Ning Yudi, you know nothing. The human race had lived comfortably for 10,000 years. They had never experienced living in the Central Domain that had such hellish sights. Now it's time to take over. Finally, the battle was inevitable. Ning Yudi and Cui Shi fought. Cui Shi summoned a dragon while Ning Yudi summoned an ice phoenix. The result of the fight resulted in Ning Yudi's soul being injured and she fell asleep while a piece of her soul fell into the Eastern Domain and was nowhere to be found. The story moves on to the Luo clan, which is in the Eastern Domain, Chongming County. The second master of the Luo clan, Luo Bingquan, was possessed by greed and teamed up with outsiders to kill the clan leader, Luo Shao, to usurp his position. Luo Shao is hunted down and killed by Luo Bingquan in a forest and accused of betraying the clan and breaking the family precepts. After that, Luo Bingquan took over as patriarch of Luo clan. As a result of that betrayal, Luo Zeng, who was the son of Luo Shao and the disciples of the eldest house, was demoted to the status of a lowly slave family. Everyone was chained and tortured. Even the second and third house slaves dared to bully them too. However, Luo Zeng's treatment was even worse than them. According to the information they got from the dungeon guards, they forced Luo Zeng to take pills every day, which caused his cultivation to stall, and he had endless nightmares. In dreams, Luo Zeng is always shown the murder that Luo Bingquan committed against his father, Luo Shao. He still couldn't believe that his father betrayed the clan. In his opinion, it was slander. Seeing his father being killed in front of him, Luo Zeng became angry and fought Luo Bingquan. Luo Zeng took out the mountain-layered seal technique and was countered by Luo Bingquan with the realm-conquering sword technique. Luo Zeng's move was successfully destroyed and thousands of flying swords pierced his body, after which he woke up from his dream. Later, Manager Fang came to see Luo Zeng. He intended to offer Luo Zeng to young Master Luo Pei'er, who had come out of seclusion. Under threat, Luo Zeng followed Manager Fang's plan and came out to meet Luo Pei'er. Luo Zeng was taken to the Luo clan's practice arena, while Manager Fang went to see Luo Pei'er to give him the news that Luo Zeng was at the practice arena. In the cultivation arena of the Luo clan, the oldest house slave family was made a living target to increase the cultivation of the Luo family. Each slave will be rotated one by one to become a living target. When a slave was about to be beaten, Luo Zeng shouted for him to stop beating. Then Luo Zeng replaces Luo Yushu for the battle of life and death. Luo Zeng managed to defeat the enemy with a single strike, and then he asked everyone to fight him alone. Luo Zeng was attacked by many people, but he easily repelled every attack that was thrown at him. One by one the enemies fell, and with his technique Luo Zeng managed to defeat many people quickly. Apparently Luo Zeng's cultivation level had already reached the mid-stage bone refinement realm. No wonder he can easily defeat so many people. It wasn't long before the young master of the Luo clan, Luo Pei'er, came. He wondered why Luo Zeng had not been killed by his father until now, but this made him happy. So he could see how far the former genius young master had fallen. Luo Peiran took out a move and was behind Luo Xing in an instant. Then he attacked Luo Xing and caused Luo Xing to be hit and knocked back several meters. Apparently Luo Peiran's cultivation level had already reached the peak bone refinement realm. He used the sacred pill of creation of heaven and earth left behind by the Luo clan ancestor to rapidly increase his realm. This of course violated the ancestral rules that had been guarded by his father before he died. After that punch, Luo Xing couldn't move his body. This opportunity was used by Luo Peiran to ridicule Luo Xing's tragic fate from being a genius young master to being a slave, even worse than a dog. Besides that, he also told that his younger sister named Luo Yan, who was in the Qingyan sect, was also punished in Purgatory Mountain for offending someone. Hearing all that made Luo Xing even more depressed and thinking of how to meet Luo Yan and save his family. After the fight against Luo Peiran, Luo Xing was brought back into the dungeon. In the torture room, Luo Xing cleaned his wounds with water. He complained about the situation he was in. His parents were killed, then turned into slaves. The sacred medicine was taken and the Luo family's cultivation place was instead used as a place of torture. Father, will our Luo family be destroyed in their hands? Then a book turned every page and out came a sentence that floated in the air accompanied by the voice of a wise man speaking. The book was called The Law of the Heavenly Path, which was a book his father had given him. However, Luo Xing still disagreed with the book's expression of seeking revenge with virtue. His father died believing the book's words. As a result, Luo Xing and the eldest house were demoted to slave family status by Luo Bingquan on charges of treason. Then Luo Xing threw the book into the fire, and it started to burn. On the other hand, Luo Xing shouldn't vent his anger on a book, because it teaches to do good. There was nothing wrong with that. Besides, the one to blame was Luo Xing himself, as he was too weak and easily bullied, just a sheep waiting to be slaughtered. After the book was completely burnt, every word of the book flew up and started to attack Luo Xing. Luo Xing tried to dodge, but every word from the book stuck to his body. He also felt a burning pain like a hot iron as every word stuck to his skin. Every word of the book kept attacking like a swarm of bees and every word stuck to Luo Xing's body. Luo Xing felt pain and then golden light shot out from his body and shattered the iron chains that bound him. After that he was unconscious and fell into the water. In Luo Xing's sea of consciousness, there is a 9-dragon furnace and an azure dragon guarding it. Luo Xing stepped into the 9 dragons furnace and the body refining process began. When Luo Xing stepped into the furnace, it seemed that he was in another world. Suddenly many fireballs fell towards him. Luo Xing couldn't avoid them and finally set Luo Xing's body on fire. After that, a gigantic spirit appeared carrying a hammer. It directly targeted Luo Xing, who was trying to put out the flames on his body. Such a condition is likened to Luo Xing as an iron that has been heated by fire, and a giant spirit as a blacksmith preparing to forge Luo Xing. Luo Xing couldn't dodge the hammer strike and was sent flying. But from another direction there was already another hammer strike and Luo Xing was finally hit by the hammer. After that, Luo Xing started trying to dodge the hammer strikes. Every time the giant spirit attacked Luo Xing, the giant spirit talked about forging the body as an inheritance weapon to strengthen the body to increase cultivation. When at the peak of cultivation will reach the primordial spirit treasure body and will live eternally and not perish, such is the supreme refinement method. After that, Luo Xing was finally hit by a hammer, then fell and was hit by an iron pillar by 2 giant spirits. Luo Xing was pinned between the iron pillars and he was knocked unconscious. When he opened his eyes, he was already in the void field of the underworld and met his dead father. Before leaving the void field, his father ordered to find your sister and live well. As long as you live, there will always be hope. After hearing the last message from his father, Luo Xing calmed down and thought more clearly. He has many problems that he has not solved, from taking revenge on his family and saving his sister. Luo Xing awakened the power of the azure dragon. His eyes turned green. As strength coursed through his body, he easily held up the 2 iron pillars with his hands. Then his blood began to evolve. Every word of his body shined and he was able to destroy the 2 iron pillars. The fight didn't stop there. The giant spirit directly attacked Luo Xing but was caught in one hand. Luo Xing counterattacked and the giant spirit died in one hit. The same thing happened to another giant spirit. Luo Xing managed to kill it with a single blow to the head. After that, Luo Xing rushed out of the 9 dragons furnace. The moment he came out of the furnace, Luo Xing was chased by the azure dragon and almost eaten by it. Luckily, Luo Xing managed to dodge and escape from the sea of consciousness. In another scene, Manager Fang reports the situation to Luo Bingquan regarding the incident that happened to Luo Xing. He reported that Luo Xing might have learned a mysterious technique that made him grow stronger. In a different place, the Luo family is used as experimental material by a psychopath to make the perfect body unite with weapons with the human spirit. And the story ends here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment.